Chapter 11. Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came VP from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings, and 3 heads. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings o'er all the earth, and all the winds of the air blew on her, and were gathered together. And I beheld. And out of her feathers there grew other contrary feathers, and they became little feathers, and small, but her heads were at rest. The head in the midst was greater than the other, yet rested it with the residue. Moreover I beheld, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers, and reigned upon earth, and o'er them that dwelt therein. And I saw that all things under heaven were subject unto her, and no man spake against her, no, not one creature upon earth. And I beheld, and lo, the eagle rose upon her talents, and spake to her feathers, saying, Watch not all at once, sleep every one in his own place, and watch by course. But let the heads be preserved for the last. And I beheld, and lo, the voice went not out of her heads, but from the midst of her body. And I numbered her contrary feathers, and behold, there were 8 of them. And I looked, and behold, on the right side there rose 1 feather, and reigned o'er all the earth. And so it was, that when it reigned, the end of it came, and the place thereof appeared no more. So the next following stood VP and reigned, and had a great time. And it happened, that when it reigned, the end of it came also, like as the first, so that it appeared no more. Then came there a voice unto it, and said, Hear, thou that hast borne rule o'er the earth so long, this I say unto thee, before thou beginnest to appear no more. There shall none after thee attain until thy time, neither until the half thereof. Then rose the third, and reigned as the other before, and appeared no more also. So went it with all the residue one after another, as that every one reigned, and then appeared no more. Then I beheld, and lo, in process of time, the feathers that followed stood VP on the right side, that they might rule also, and some of them ruled. But within a while they appeared no more. For some of them were set VP, but ruled not. After this I looked, and behold, the 12 feathers appeared no more, nor the 2 little feathers. And there was no more upon the eagle's body, but 3 heads that rested, and 6 little wings. Then saw I also that 2 little feathers divided themselves from the 6, and remained under the head, that was on the right side, for the 4 continued in their place. And I beheld, and lo, the feathers that were under the wing thought to set VP themselves, and to how the rule. And I beheld, and lo, there was 1 set VP, but shortly it appeared no more, and the second was sooner away than the first. And I beheld, and lo, the 2 that remained thought also in themselves to reign. And when they so thought, behold, there awaked 1 of the heads that were at rest, namely it that was in the midst, for that was greater than the 2 other heads. And then I saw that the 2 other heads were joined with it. And behold, the head was turned with them that were with it, and did eat VP the 2 feathers under the wing that would how reigned. But this head put the whole earth in fear, and bare rule in it o'er all those that dwelt on the earth, with much oppression. And it had the governance of the world more than all the wings that had been. And after this I beheld, and lo, the head that was in the midst suddenly appeared no more, like as the wings. But there remained the 2 heads, which also in like sort ruled upon the earth, and o'er those that dwelt therein. And I beheld, and lo, the head on the right side dured it, that was on the left side. Then I heard a voice, which said unto me, Look before thee, and consider the thing that thou seest. And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion, chased out of the wood, and I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, Art not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the 4th came and o'ercame all the beasts that were past, and had power o'er the world with great fearfulness, and o'er the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he on the earth with deceit. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth. For thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast lewd liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come VP until the highest, and thy pride until the mighty. The highest also hath looked on the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. And therefore appear no more thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her.
Chapter 12. And it came to pass whiles the lion spake these words, then told the eagle, I saw. And behold, the head that remained, and the four wings appeared no more, and the two went to it, and set themselves to rake, and their kingdom was small and full of roar. And I saw, and behold, they appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear. Then awaked I out of the trouble and trance of my mind, and from great fear, and said unto my spirit, Lo, this hast thou done unto me, in that thou searchest out the ways of the highest. Lo, yet am I weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit, and little strength is there in me, for the great fear wherewith I was affrighted this night. Therefore will I now beseech the highest, that he will comfort me unto the end. And I said, Lord, that bearest rule, if I have found grace before thy sight, and if I am justified with thee before many others, and if my prayer indeed become VP before thy face, comfort me then, and shew me thy sorrow and the interpretation, and plain difference of this fearful vision, that thou must perfectly comfort my soul. For thou hast judged me worthy to shew me the last times. And he said unto me, This is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom thou sawest come from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. But it was not expounded unto him, therefore now I declare it unto thee. Behold, the days will come, that there shall rise a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. In the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another, whereof the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 wings signify which thou sawest. As for the voice which thou heardest speak, and that thou sawest not to go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof, this is the interpretation. That after the time of that kingdom there shall rise great strivings, and it shall stand in peril of falling. Northless it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. And whereas thou sawest the 8 small feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation. That in him there shall rise 8 kings, whose time shall be but small, and their years swift. And 2 of them shall perish, the middle time approaching, 4 shall be kept till their end begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept unto the end. And whereas thou sawest 3 heads resting, this is the interpretation. In his last days shall the Most High raise 3 kingdoms, and renew many things therein, and they shall have the dominion of the earth, and of those that dwell therein with much oppression, about all those that were before them. Therefore are they called the heads of the eagle. For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness, and that shall finish his last end. And whereas thou sawest that the great head appeared no more, it signifieth that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. For the 2 that remain shall be slain with the sword. For the sword of the one shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. And whereas thou sawest 2 feathers under the wings passing o'er the head, that is on the right side, it signifieth that these are they whom the highest hath kept unto their end. This is the small kingdom and full of trouble, as thou sawest. And the lion whom thou sawest rising out of the wood, and roaring, and speaking to the eagle, and rebuking her for her variousness with all the words which thou hast heard. This is the anointed which the highest hath kept for them, and for their wickedness unto the end he shall reprove them, and shall braid them with their cruelty. For he shall set them before him in judgment, and shall rebuke them and correct them. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy, those that have been preserved on my borders. And he shall make them fulfill the coming of the day of judgment, whereof I have spoken unto thee from the beginning. This is the dream that thou sawest, and these are the interpretations. Thou only hast been a meet to know the secret of the highest. Therefore write all these things that thou hast seen in a book, and hide them, and teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend, and keep these secrets. But wait thou here thyself yet 7 days more, that it may be shewed thee whatsoe'er it pleaseth the highest to declare unto thee. And with that he went his way. And it came to pass when all the people saw that the 7 days were past, and I not come again into the city, they gathered them all together, from the least unto the greatest, and came unto me, and said, What have we offended thee? And what evil have we done against thee, that thou forsakest verses, and sittest here in this place? For of all the prophets thou only art left verses, as a cluster of the vintage, and as a candle in a dark place, and as a horn or a ship preserved from the tempest. Are not the yules which are come to verses sufficient? If thou shalt forsake verses, how much better had it been for verses, if we also had been burnt in the midst of Shin? For we are not better than they that died there. And they wept with a loud voice. Then answered I them, and said, Be of good comfort, O Israel, and be not hurry, thou house of Jacob. For the highest hath you in remembrance, and the mighty hath not forgotten you in temptation. As for me, I have not forsaken you, neither am I departed from you, but am come into this place to pray for the desolation of Shin, and that I might seek mercy for the low estate of your sanctuary. And now go your way home, Uri man, and after these days will I come unto you. So the people went their way into the city, like as I commanded them. But I remained still in the field 7 days, as the angel commanded me, and did eat only in those days of the flowers of the field, and had my meat of the herbs.